All right, we're live. Welcome to another broadcast of Elegant Profanity. I'm Dennis Gleason. With me, Travis Barnes and Robert Turnquest. How you guys doing today?
Excellent, Danny. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right?
Rob, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How you guys doing?
Great.
Excellent. So, Rob is an MMA fighter. You've had 4 professional fights, right?
Yes.
When did you, just a little bit about you before we really get into it. You've had 4 professional fights. What is your specialty as far as your mixed martial arts training?
My specialty as far as mixed martial arts is going to be judo based. I started with judo when I was about 5 years old, so that's where the focus of my training has come from. And then about 2.5, 3 years ago, when I decided to get serious into MMA, I started doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. So the focus is going to be on grappling, takedowns, and submissions.
And in your first professional fights, were they here locally in Pensacola?
3 out of my first 4 professional fights were here local in Pensacola. The other one was in Biloxi, Mississippi at the Golden Nugget Casino.
Do you like the fact that you're fighting locally? Do you like the fact that you can kind of go out and be noticed a little bit, or do you prefer fighting outside of town so people they don't notice you? Do you
I feel like the more you fight in different areas, the better your name gets out there.
Yeah, I think there's ups and downs to both of them. When you fight locally, obviously all your friends, your family, coworkers, and stuff like that can come support you. It's a lot easier. But then you also have that factor of all your friends and family and coworkers.
Oh yeah,
and everybody's
absolutely.
there to support
A lot of
you.
pressure.
So you got the added pressure if you mess anything up, or if you make a mistake, or if you lose your fight. That's always something you want to keep in the back of your mind. And then when you go out and you fight in other areas, you're unknown, so it makes it easier to step into the cage. But when you go and fight in other areas, typically you're going to be the underdog. They're going to try to set you up with one of their better guys. So that's also something you have to deal with. So it's not really either one is easier or harder, or I like one better than the other. They both have their ups and downs.
I feel like that would be weird, whenever you get done with something like that, and then you go out and let's say you're getting a lot of notification on Facebook or social media stuff like this, and then let's say you go to Walmart. You're just gonna run into Walmart real quick. I'm just gonna pick up some produce real fast, and somebody comes up and goes, "Hey, do you fight?" And that's got to be weird that you don't even know this person.
It's happened a couple times, and actually I don't think it's really weird. I think it's pretty cool. It happened once, actually at the fair. I was working the beer booth for my command. We did a volunteer thing to help raise money. And I was working that, and I had some guy come up, and he was like, "Hey, aren't you a pro fighter?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh, you just fought at the Civic Center, didn't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Hey, can I take a picture real quick?" So I thought that was pretty cool. Like, I really don't see what people are complaining about when they have people come up and ask to take pictures and get autographs and everything. I think it's pretty sweet. And the other time was at the casino in Biloxi. This kid came up and he recognized me from one of the posters, and he was like, "Hey, that's you in the poster?" And I was like, "Yeah." Bad part was me getting punched in the poster, but he still recognized me and he wanted to take a picture and stuff like that. So I thought it was pretty cool.
That is cool.
I'm sure it's cool on a small scale, but just take it into like if you were Brad Pitt, every single person, every single day, then the novelty is gone at that point.
I think the novelty kind of would wear off, but I think you have to appreciate people coming up and doing
Absolutely.
stuff like that, because without so I mean, being an actor is different from being a fighter, obviously, but in the sense that you need fans, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Promoters look at how many tickets you sell, are people going to come watch you, do people like to watch you. One of the promoters just this weekend was talking, and he said, promoters need people to want to see you. They either need to want to see people come in and beat your ass, or they want to see you beat somebody's ass. But either way, they want to see you. They know this guy's fighting. Hey, I don't like this guy, but I want to see this other guy just go take it to him.
Yeah.
Or hey man, it's my favorite fighter. I really want to see him do good. Either way, people are coming to see you. So you need people to want to see you. So I mean, it's kind of, you have to appreciate that, because without fans, you're not going to move up to a larger stage. Just like with acting, if people don't want to see you, you're not gonna keep selling tickets and stuff. So.
To get back to the thing of people coming up to you and how much it means something. That's part of the reason why we started this podcast. Like, it's been so easy to get people to come on because people want to be supported. Like, they want somebody to give a shit about what they do.
Absolutely.
Like, it's simple. Like, we've got a couple of musicians lined up. People are all about it. Like, and that's cool from my aspect. Like, I can appreciate the effort people put into stuff. Like, to me, that's awesome.
To have a platform.
To have a platform to get that out. I have no problem with that.
Right.
It's very enjoyable.
Yeah, as soon as you mentioned it to me, I got excited. I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll come out there.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
But like we were just talking about, I had no clue how this was going to work. Like, what the format is or anything like that. So I was kind of not nervous, but there was that
unknown.
Yeah, that
moment of unknown.
And then he gave you that massage, and it kind of loosened things up.
The massage didn't really help so much, but the happy ending, that finished.
Those are the best endings.
I'm gonna bill you for that one.
Yeah.
Good thing I charged by the second.
Unfortunately, he charges by the inch.
Oh, there you go. It worked out.
So, how did it become though that you wanted to say, yeah, I want to go punch people for a living?
Well, actually, and I'm not, whatever. I was gonna say I'm not trying to be a dick, but there's no way to really phrase this without making it sound like I'm
That's
a dick.
okay.
No worries, live.
Dennis hasn't shown you any of my videos, because I really don't punch people in the face. Anybody that watches me, they're like, dude, you need to work on your stand-up. Your striking is atrocious. I was teaching judo in Hawaii, or I was coaching judo in Hawaii, and a couple of my kids were always like, Sensei Rob, when are you going to fight MMA? And I was like, yeah, I'm not. I have no desire to get punched. And if you've ever been punched in the face, like, man, that shit sucks. It absolutely hurts. So
right.
Anybody that's out there that's like, yeah, I fight because I like to get punched in the face, you're an idiot.
Right.
So, but anyways, the kids were always asking me, when are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? And finally one of the kids that was like a little brother to me was like, hey, I really, really want you to do this. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. So the first promotion that I ever fought for was Ultimate Blue Corner Battles up in Kansas City, Missouri. And, man, they rolled it out. Like, everything was so professional. I was an amateur at the time, first amateur fight. But, the setup was awesome. Like, just the whole experience, the people that were there, the weigh-in show, the pictures, and, the crowd, and, walking out and being in the cage and everything. And I was like, man, this is pretty cool. I definitely get used to that. And so I was pretty much sold from there. I had my first 5 amateur fights without ever doing any striking whatsoever.
Wow.
Did not do one boxing class, one kickboxing class. Still hadn't done jiu-jitsu at the time. They were all just off of judo. And then I got my ass beat in one fight. I won the fight, but, in the stand-up portion, guy gave me a black eye, and I was just like, I was having a hard time getting a hold of him, and I was like, man, this is a lot different than my previous fights. Like, I should probably start working on this a little bit. And so then I started, and just the more I do it, I just want to push harder, fight someone better, fight someone a little bit better each time, and try to see how far I can take it. So,
how did you end up in Hawaii to begin with?
Initially, I was in Japan, and I had orders to go to San Diego, and they got canceled, and got stuck in Hawaii.
So you was in the military?
I got stuck in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Bummer, right?
Yeah,
what is the moment when you're in the cage or you're on your way to? Like, what is the feeling?
That's something that's extremely hard to describe.
It is. And I've been trying to do it, to describe it to Travis. It's not the same thing. Comedy and fighting is not the same thing, but I have a feeling that the feeling is the same. Because I'm trying to describe it and I can't. And the best I can is, it's like you see the lights, you see people's face, but there's like a hovering energy of happy and joy, and almost like, holy fuck, this is happening. And it's like a constant beam. Is that it all? Does that describe it all to you?
Nope.
Because that's what I feel. Like that's
not a happy joy.
Really, it's not like an energy, like an unseen energy. That's kind of like, holy shit, this is happening. I'm in this moment, and this is happening.
Yeah, you can say there's kind of an unseen energy. First, you have the walkout, and that's you're behind the curtains, and you hear your music play, and I have 2 songs that I use. In both songs, I wait about 40 45
I've noticed that
seconds.
you wait. Is that
Yeah.
on purpose?
Yeah, it's for a couple reasons. One, to be a dick and make the other person just
I
stand in the cage. And they're just sitting there wondering,
Yeah.
like, what's going on.
Yeah.
But then I'm also waiting for, I actually like both those songs. And so I'm waiting for a certain part in the song to play before I walk out. And so you got the walkout, and you're listening to your music, and that's when everything starts to kind of like come together. You're trying to stay calm and not be too excited, not just sprint out there and just run into the cage as fast as you can. You're trying to stay calm, trying to keep your nerves together. And then you step out in front of the curtain, and the crowd is there. People are cheering or they're booing, but either way, the crowd is there and it hits you like, all right, it's time to do this. So there's a nervous anticipation, as you're walking to the cage, and as you get closer to the cage, it just builds up and builds up, and then you get to the cage, and my teammates walk out with me. So I'm sitting there, and I hug all my teammates, and they all wish me luck, and they're like, you got this, bro. And I know they're all right, but that you still need to hear that
right
before you go in there.
Mm-hmm.
Then I've got my two cornermen, Brian Smith and Rico Holanda. They're the last two people that I talk to before the fight starts. Brian puts his Vaseline on my eyebrows and on my cheeks and my nose for if I get punched and everything like that. And he tells me his last words of encouragement, and it's been different for each fight, but he always comes up with something good, and I really appreciate that. And then you step in the cage, and all that nervousness and that anxiety and that anticipation just kind of washes away, and it's like a feeling of relief because you're like, all right, everything's done, all the hard part's done, the work is done, now it's just time to put it together. This is it. One way or another, I'm leaving 100% of everything that I have in the cage.
That's awesome.
It's kind of, that's the best way that I can describe it.
It's super hard to describe.
Yeah,
it is.
It's really hard.
It's a weird, and I don't have the same feeling from the same moment, but I think the feeling we're trying to describe is the same.
I think it's also kind of cool that he waits 45 seconds while that guy's listening to Me So Horny by Two Live Crew. And he doesn't know what's going to happen, what's going on behind that curtain.
Something's going on. He likes the music. I mean, the lyrics.
I think the main difference between y'all's two things is, yeah, you're fixing to go on stage and perform, and it's nerve-wracking.
Oh, there's definitely a difference. I'm not comparing it.
Right.
But
and then you got a gladiator fixing to go fight in the Coliseum with the lions. That's a weird way. That's a weird way to describe comedy, but whatever. No,
yeah. I was gonna say the main difference is that I strip down half naked and get out there, and he's got all his clothes.
This is true.
But he's fully naked under those clothes.
Yeah.
I'll get naked on stage.
So do you train here locally?
I do train locally. I'm at the Academy of Pensacola off of West 9 Mile. We offer everything. We have judo, we have jiu-jitsu, we have wrestling, we have nogi jiu-jitsu, and we offer kickboxing as well. Open 7 days a week, and there's something going on every day. So.
Awesome. My cousin actually just signed up at y'all's gym on Monday. His name is Shannon Edmondson. He's a big guy with tattoos.
Yeah. He was there Monday and last night.
Yeah,
he was a cool guy.
He said he was coming there tonight too, so hopefully he'll stay with it. He's big into the sport and everything. I told him that you were coming on. He was pretty pumped about it.
Well, tell him not to tell anybody because I'm supposed to be a trainer now.
That's what he was asking.
How long has your cousin been involved?
Well, he just started Monday.
Completely.
2 days.
Yeah, 2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
You gotta wonder what triggers that.
Well, it's just something that he's always liked. So I think he's just finally trying to take something he's had an interest in and make it a hobby or whatever it may be.
Right. They gotta make that step.
What kind of words of encouragement would you have for somebody that's just starting this?
When you're just starting, I was actually talking to somebody else about that today, about just starting. It's kind of like high school, in certain ways. Like any gym you go to, they're gonna have cliques. These guys have been training together for a long time. People don't want to admit it, but they're emotional. We sweat, bleed. We hurt each other. We get hurt, but in the end, we're still brothers. But so you really when you first show up to a gym, you're not going to be part of a clique. You're going to be part of the out crowd, and no one's going to want to talk to you.
The stinky kids.
Yeah, and you have to stick with it. They see so many newcomers and beginners at every gym you go to. They see 100 new people walk through the door. But for every 100 people, maybe 5 or 10 are going to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So, we waste, and it's not a waste of time, but if we spend a bunch of time with everybody that walks through the door, we know that the time is not being appreciated, and they're just going to leave in the end anyway. So, we kind of feel people out, and it's one of those like unspoken rules. Like, it just happens. So you just got to stick with it, and you got to know that, there's nothing against you, but, we've seen 100 of you come.
You got to show you actually want to put in the work. I can understand that. So you got your black belt in judo?
Black belt in judo. I'm a 3rd degree black belt, or a sandan. I actually received that in Japan when I was stationed in Japan.
Very cool.
Funny story. Not funny story. It kind of sucked for me, actually. But when I got there, they didn't recognize my rank. They said that I had to start over as a white belt for testing purposes. So I did, and I had to work my way back up. So I got there as a 1st degree black belt, but I left as a 3rd degree. So
wow,
that's kind of
starting all the way over.
Yeah, starting all the way over.
Wow, that's impressive. So, what branch of the military were you in?
Still in the Navy, active duty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you stationed here?
Yeah, I'm stationed over at Corey Station.
Okay.
As a ITA school instructor.
Oh, really?
So, moonlighting as a pro MMA fighter at night, and then going and teaching kids how to take apart computers during the day.
What an are you Clark Kent by any chance?
He doesn't wear glasses.
Yeah,
that's true. He got the laser surgery.
I can't believe we haven't covered it yet, but your upcoming or your campaign, if we want to fight next, what is?
Oh, so that actually fell through.
It fell through.
We actually got we didn't get word, but it was announced. It was announced last Thursday, I think it was, either Wednesday or Thursday, that they found an opponent for him.
Yeah.
So basically, I wanted to fight Kron Gracie, and Kron Gracie is the son of the legendary Hickson Gracie, who is Hoist Gracie's brother. Everybody knows Hoist Gracie from the first Ultimate Fighters, the first UFCs, and so
or at least the last name, people recognize that.
Right, the Gracie name. They're synonymous with mixed martial arts, and so his son is making his pro debut, and his son is like multiple-time world champion in jiu-jitsu. Multiple-time, they have this thing called ADCC, which is the Abu Dhabi Combat Club. Multiple-time ADCC champ, where they fly him over to the UAE, and those guys, they're getting paid like big bucks by the, trying to think of the right word.
Like the commission?
No, by like the sheiks and everybody.
Oh, okay.
Like they're the ones that put it on, and so. This guy's got accolades out the ass.
Yeah.
Quite possibly one of the best active, grapplers in the world. And they had posted that they were looking for a fighter for him for his first pro fight. It was on this website, MMA Underground. He had 4 fights already lined up, and in a matter of like 4 weeks, all 4 of those fighters had pulled out. So they're like, hey, we're looking for any 170-pound or 155-pound fighter that's willing to meet at 160 pounds that will fight this guy. And on the thread on the underground, it was blank. Like nobody was replying.
Which is surprising.
Yeah, and so I went ahead and I ran with it, and I replied on the thread. I found him on Facebook, and I sent him a message directly. I found his father a message and sent him a message directly. Found him on Instagram, started messaging him there. Made a couple little posters. Well, I didn't make the posters. I made one, and it was really shitty because my photoshopping skills are non-existent. But then a couple friends of mine made some posters for me, and we actually started getting those passed around. And they got they got passed around pretty good. Like one of them had like close to 500 shares on Facebook, and hundreds of comments, mostly negative shit.
That's
people that don't want to step outside their own box. They're like, oh, you have no chance, blah blah. So, and my thing is, and I heard it from somewhere, and I have no idea where I heard it, but the fastest way to turn a black belt into a brown belt is punch him in the face.
Absolutely.
Right? So this is an MMA fight. This isn't it's not a jiu-jitsu tournament. It's not just grappling or anything like that. Like, yes, he probably will have the advantage on the ground, but I can always still punch him in the face.
Yeah. Actually, last week we talked about it, some of the comments, and people were basically like, who are you to even ask for the fight?
Right.
And my thought was, why not? Like,
yeah.
What is that? Why wouldn't you ask for it? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you might as well.
Yeah. That's my thought.
He can always turn you down and say no.
And then I'm in the same position I was in before.
So one of the comments was, like, you have everything to gain. He has nothing to lose. because he's a bigger name. It can make your career this and that. But it's like, well, so that means don't even try.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that's
absolutely.
stupid. I mean, that's stupid.
Yeah. I really don't understand people's mindsets.
That's the guy that watches it on TV and then doesn't know anything about
Right.
it.
Yeah.
He's 35-year-old and
He doesn't even whatever his jujitsu is. He doesn't even go after.
Yeah.
If
I
it's
actually
wood
had a lot
carving,
of-
he doesn't care.
I had a lot of jiu-jitsu guys that were coming and talking shit too. We had this one guy that's a blue belt, and his own teammates ended up jumping on him. They're like, "Dude, you're a fucking douchebag. Like, what are you doing?" But he got on there and he was like, "Man, I've seen your grappling on YouTube. You suck. I challenge you to a blue belt super fight next Thursday."
Yeah.
And like me and my friends, we were joking about it. Like, what the fuck is a blue belt super fight? Like,
Right.
who's
I
gonna
think
watch
it's
these
he
two
meant
assholes?
tickle. He said super, but he meant tickle.
It's
Oh, okay.
it's a similar
He
thing to
meant
the
tickle.
Flint, Michigan Mega Bowl.
Yeah,
It's,
exactly.
it's like the same thing almost.
It's Mega Bowl.
Right. It's gonna be a large cannon after this fight.
Yeah.
It will shoot confetti.
That was something else I want to talk about because now you got quite a few likes, followers on Facebook. Do you read any of the
Every single one.
Really?
Every comment, every message I
Bad,
get,
good or bad?
good or bad, I read it all. Like I said,
That's a strong person.
In the beginning, well, at the beginning of this podcast, we were talking, and I said, you need people to either want to see you win or they want to see you lose, but you still need people. So, a couple of the comments, I went and I threw a little one-liner at them,
Yeah.
just to, keep them kind of engaged so that they're like, I'm going to watch this fight because I want to see this guy lose. But
Right.
most of the comments,
That's smart.
most of the comments I just ignore. The ones that are just like completely outrageous, I'm like, man, fuck you, I'm not replying to that. Like,
See, that's the other part. Do you engage that person?
like I said, some of them I do.
Yeah.
I'll throw one or two one-liners out there, but for the most part, I just kind of just let it go. But then all the positive responses, I reply to every single one of those.
Yeah.
How funny is it too, also though, that let's say you are like a keyboard gangster, and you write like a negative comment, and then just go about your
Keyboard
day,
gangster.
and then later on in the day you check your phone and you get a reply from that guy, like.
I'm gonna say that they're probably more the keyboard gangsters than I am. I just think it's funny in general because it's Facebook, so you can click on somebody's profile and then you see kind of what they're about a little bit. And some of these people that make comments, you get everything from 8 to 12, 13-year-old kids to like
See, that's the thing.
40, 50-year-old dudes, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, first off, who let you have a keyboard? Like, who gave you a computer? And then the old guys are like, dude, you have nothing. Don't you have a job? Like, you should probably be working.
They don't.
Right now. Yeah, they don't.
I call that the Call of Duty complex.
Call of Duty complex.
That's the way that our world has started to evolve to. Everybody thinks that they can talk to anybody any kind of way.
It's because it's anonymous.
Well, that's the way that like me and you have talked about before about the way that social media is nowadays. Like before, there would be no other platform that somebody could talk to somebody like Rob, in his situation without directly coming up to you and saying like, you suck, you're terrible. But now I can go on there and tweet Tracy Morgan, and I can say, man, Tracy, I really hope that you don't pull through. And then Tracy can tweet me back and be like, I hope your whole family dies.
It happens,
you know what I mean?
Like, but that person will never say it to anybody's face, regardless of who that person is.
Right.
But it's also to take a positive spin from, like, you were able to talk to Cron Gracie via Facebook.
No, he never replied.
Oh, he never did.
He never replied. And
To anything?
No, to nothing. He didn't reply on Instagram. He didn't reply on Facebook. I had other people tagging him and stuff, and not that I was like saying, "Hey, go tag him," but like other people were just tagging him, like, "Yo, do you see this fucking guy?" And yeah, he never replied. He saw all the messages on Facebook because Facebook has that handy little thing, so when you're trying to avoid somebody, they still know if you read their messages or not.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he saw all my messages. His dad saw all my messages.
But even that by itself is like that. 15 years ago, those people were untouchable. Like you couldn't even. There was no. You had to have a little black book full of contacts. It was gold. Now it's just Facebook.
Yeah. So I mean that helps, but still, just to reply like, no.
But you think that he's at
Fuck
the
off.
point, and I don't know him. I'm assuming he's.
You don't?
No, I don't. I haven't met him yet. But you think does he like actually access his own Facebook page, or does he have people that?
Yeah, he's not that big yet that he has other people do it for him.
I mean, he's just not good at English.
I
Could
don't
be.
know.
He lives in California. He trains with Nick and Nate Diaz, the Diaz brothers. So.
Don't get me started on those guys.
Man, we were looking forward to it because I had every intention of winning that fight, and we were like making jokes about like, oh man, after that fight, like who are you gonna fight next, Nick or Nate? Because one of them was jumping in the cage, like, you know, we were just making jokes about it. So
I really hope that one day that Nate and Nick Diaz are on a flight to like Mandalay Bay to go fight, and Pitbull the singer is also leaving that same venue at one point, and their planes kind of just collide in the air with each other. That would be great for me.
so Mexicans and Cubans.
Well, just the Diaz's.
That's
not,
a
not a
bold
fan
statement.
of
What does Pitbull have to do with it?
I'm also not a fan of his music. I wish he would just stop.
I mean, you could say like, I just wish he would stop
I could.
making music.
I kind of got. I have that Call of Duty complex.
Have you ever watched the music videos for his songs?
I haven't.
Watch one of the music videos, but just turn the volume down.
Beautiful
You'll have a
Women?
new appreciation for his music.
Is there a lot of this? I would imagine
No, there's
a
not
lot of fist
there's not
pumping.
a lot of fist pumping.
No.
I mean, just ignore that part.
Okay,
Just
I'll have
look
to.
past that.
Those two guys though.
Today I found myself on YouTube watching Snoop Dogg has his own news, like a reel on Facebook or on
You
YouTube.
know you can't get that time back now, right?
No, it's fucking hilarious.
It's gone.
It's GNN. It's funny. Check it out. It's funny.
What's a G for?
Double G, Snoop Dogg.
It's
Jesus
D
Christ.
double G.
It's funny. I don't know why, but I find
Oh
Snoop
my
Dogg
God.
hilarious. Like it's just funny to
What's
me.
he reporting on?
It's just nonsense. It's complete nonsense, but it's funny.
He used to have that show back on MTV2 where he would like Snoop Dogg TV or something.
It's
like
kind of that
this.
same idea, but it's just like he branched out and did it himself. Like there's no rules. Like there's no censors.
Just him in a 3-piece.
No, he has guests come on, but it's funny. Check it out.
Is it like Coffee, Cars, and Comedians? But
No,
way
not even.
worse?
It's Colt 45 and Paris Hilton.
Well,
It's not
at
even.
least she's still getting play somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
He actually made her drink her first 45 on there, which was funny, but whatever. I guess I did waste some time
It's
today.
not her first 45 though, if you think about it.
No.
She'll end up on the first 48 if she keeps hanging out with him.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know what that. Oh, like
So
It's an A&E show. Right?
I know what that is.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
It's like the modern day version of Cops.
You know when songs come on the radio, you can actually like change the radio station, right?
I can't though. It brings me in so deeply that I have to sit there and let the hate fester.
The scary part about that 48 show, most of that stuff happens in like Alabama, like 25 minutes away.
Like Montclair, more
Yeah.
like. Yeah, right up the street.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
That is crazy.
How long did it take you to advance through the belts?
For judo, it's a little bit differently. You know, I hate to say it, but it's another thing we were just talking about the other night. Judo has been so watered down in the U.S. You have a huge skill and technical range at the black belt level. You have some black belts that are just amazing black belts. They're technically sound. They're strong. They know their shit. And you have other black belts that you honestly can't tell that it's not their first week doing this. The only thing that they can do better than a white belt is tie their belt and make their gi look a lot better. And so you have a huge range. But you know, I got my black belt for the first time when I was 16 in judo. For jiu-jitsu, I actually just got promoted last night to purple belt. But the thing about like judo and jiu-jitsu is, you know, a blue belt in jiu-jitsu is a blue belt. Like across the board, there's a you know, still a skill range with anything. But
Right.
you know, you're gonna know when you roll the blue belt about what you're gonna get. When you get a purple belt, that's a purple belt. Like, so you can walk into any gym and you know, like, if this guy's a blue belt, you know what you're gonna get when you step in front of the mat. If this guy's a purple belt, you know what you're gonna get. Judo, it's kind of different. You really don't know where their background is or who they got their belt from or if they paid somebody for it or what. And it really sucks because for a sport that's not that popular, you would think that there would be a lot more integrity, but you know, somewhere in like the mid to late 90s, there was this transitional gap, and that shit happened, and it sucks. But you know,
I think it makes sense though, because like you could be a professional at anything, like your first year, and then there's going to be that professional that's still doing it at year 20. Of course, that person at year 20
well, yeah, but
is going to be better. Like if that's the highest level, there's still like the time's going to pass, but there's not another belt to get.
True, but you still expect that guy that's a professional at his first year to still be a professional.
Yeah,
You still
right.
hold him, you know, accountable for a certain amount of skill, a certain amount of knowledge, and you know, we went to a tournament. We took a yellow belt and an orange belt to a tournament. And these are guys that have been doing judo for less than a year, year and a half, and they went and they swept up the black belt division. They won.
Really?
Which in no place should that be acceptable. You
Right.
got guys that have been doing this for 6, 10, 15, 20 years getting beat by guys that it's their year into it, year and a half into it. That should not be happening. So that's the skill range that we're talking about. You have serious schools and you have like recreational schools, and the difference is ridiculous.
It speaks more for the academy than anything. I've been paying attention on Facebook, and I've been to a couple of the fights, and it seems like you guys definitely place well.
Yeah, we always do really well. The team that we have there is hands down one of the most close-knit teams I've ever seen or ever been part of. These guys will do anything for each other, and they, it's not that they do anything for each other. If people have problems or anything, they take care of each other on and off the mat. So that's pretty cool. But the skill level at the academy is, it's a small group, but the skill level is high. We have amazing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We've got Michael Morgan, who went down to Brazil this year and won the Masters International at brown belt level and got his black belt while we were down there. So he's one of like 4 black belts in the Gulf Coast area.
Wow.
Like there's not that many around here. You've got him. You've got Alan Belcher over in Biloxi. You've got Raphael Ellwanger, who's over in like the New Orleans area, and then you've got Jimmy Mills in Mobile. And there's all your black belts in this area. Like that's it. So we've got an amazing black belt. We've got an amazing no-gi team led by John Henson, who's Eric Paulson guy, which their no-gi grappling is head and shoulders above everybody else's. We've got, for our kickboxing, we have Mike Roberts and Brian Smith. Mike Roberts just fought one of the toughest guys in the Gulf Coast area for the second time, one of Alan Belcher's top guys, and they went to a fucking 5-round war. It was literally the best fight I have ever seen in my entire life. Like,
yeah.
You pay pay-per-view and you don't get half of what you got in this fight. And unfortunately, that fight did not go Mike's way. But it was actually the rematch because the first time they fought, it did go Mike's way. The first time they fought, Mike went in there and just swept his ass up for 3 rounds. And he won. And then this time, the decision went to Jason. But
probably the third fight then, huh?
Yeah. I mean, that's what's it's looking like in the future. But we've got him and Brian Smith. Brian's an undefeated professional fighter. They run our kickboxing and striking program. We've got Rico Holanda, who's also part of our pro team. He's also undefeated as well. I mean, we've just got this huge talent pool that you would not expect. We've got Jeremy Gray, brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, black belt in judo, competes at a national level. We've got Bobby Yamashita, who's actually my roommate, who just won this weekend. He won the President's Cup, which is a huge tournament. He beat the number 2 ranked fighter in the country in 15 seconds.
Wow.
And it's coming out of Pensacola, like out of the academy. We've got guys that place internationally. We've got guys that place nationally, not just in like one sport, but in multiple sports. Bobby's also a member of the All Navy wrestling team. So when he's not doing judo, he's wrestling at a national and Olympic level. So I mean, the talent pool that we have in this one tiny gym is fucking insane. You don't find that anywhere else.
Have you noticed anybody coming here specifically to go to the academy yet? Like,
that shit does not happen.
It doesn't happen. See, that's the misconception
then. His cousin Shannon would be the first one.
Wow. Well, it happens, though. I think it's give it time.
Well, yeah, it does. It happens at gyms all the time, but just not where we're at just yet.
Yeah.
Especially when we first started to establish ourselves in the MMA scene, a lot of people were like, oh, they got lucky. Oh, they got lucky again.
Yeah.
Oh, they got. And we were sitting there like, how many fucking times do you expect us to get lucky? Like, at some point you have to acknowledge that this shit is not luck. Like, we work hard, we train hard, and we put our skills together when it matters. But people are actually just starting to recognize us as a legitimate gym, for all aspects, jiu-jitsu, MMA, judo. They're just starting to realize like these guys mean business. Like when we show up to tournaments, they know, holy shit, like these guys are about to clean house. So,
is there a way that you can go on any type of platform and see upcoming events that these local guys are fighting in?
You talking about for MMA or jiu-jitsu or
Both, just any type of
for
way.
jiu-jitsu? There's calendars for different organizations.
I think he means like specifically from your gym.
Oh yeah, we have a Facebook page. If you just look up the Academy of Pensacola Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on Facebook, you'll see a picture of a shark with the American flag in the background. That's our Facebook page, and we post everything that's coming up. Upcoming tournaments, fights, matches, everything that we have coming up. We post seminars. We have black belts come in from Brazil to come teach. We just for a month had Adriano Lucio, who's he owns a couple schools in Brazil. So to run a school in Brazil for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, kind of speaks highly. He just came back from the Worlds and he got third at the Worlds. We have guys coming in all the time to do seminars and teach and help us out. And so, that's probably the best place to get all your information from.
We're happy to if you want to post that to our page as well.
Yeah,
definitely support
after this.
Definitely support everything.
Do y'all have like a team name?
We're just the Academy right now.
The Academy?
Yeah.
Which I kind of like that. It's kind of like the Academy.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool with like the whole Navy thing, plus this. I mean, I know it's not like part of it, but just
talking about the Naval Academy.
Right. You kind of got the Naval Academy, and then the gym that you train at is the Academy. I don't know. It just kind of goes well together. I don't know.
Well,
Not a lot of semen involved in both of them, I guess.
If you knew the gay jokes that we make while we're training, you would not think that. Right? From the jokes, we make a lot of jokes about training, and we talk about that sometimes. Like, man, that's probably why we don't have a lot of people here. All these fucking gay jokes we're making
right.
with each other. But yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. It's a weird dynamic.
There's a lightness there. There has to be.
Yeah,
because you are rolling around on the ground with another guy. There has to be that lightness.
You have to make fun of some of the positions you get put in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna be like, this
you just can't get hard.
Weird. Yeah. That's the two things, two rules. You can't get hard and don't make eye contact.
Well, you can't do both at the same time.
Right.
But making eye contact can lead to the other one.
That's right. So don't do it at the same time. If you do one or the other, it's good.
You can see into their soul. So, for those who don't know, would judo be getting you to the ground, and then jiu-jitsu would be what you do when you're on the ground?
Yeah, that's pretty. That's actually a pretty good way to describe it.
Okay.
Judo focuses a lot on throws and trips and takedowns. Jiu-jitsu focuses on the submissions. Now, judo does have submissions on the ground, but the rules for judo favor standing up and doing throws. The rules for jiu-jitsu favor staying on the ground. Like in jiu-jitsu, you can get penalized for standing back up and not engaging someone on the ground. Judo is the exact opposite. You can get penalized for just trying to pull somebody to the ground. Mm-hmm. So judo favors the stand-up aspect, and then jiu-jitsu favors the ground aspect.
What's the biggest difference between jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
Well, you're talking about like the big picture. Like jiu-jitsu originally is Japanese, and there's like some striking in it, and it's not a sport. It's more of a self-defense art. Then Brazilian jiu-jitsu is more of like a combat sport that you can actually practice and apply your skills against other people and stuff. So.
Okay, because I always just hear like it always seems like Brazilian jiu-jitsu is like the top level. You know what I mean?
Well, that's used for like MMA a lot because the positions and like the way that you train Brazilian jiu-jitsu helps with MMA. So, and a lot of times people just say jiu-jitsu, but they mean Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So.
Is it equally the same amount of time as far as getting a black belt?
You know what? Honestly, I've never even looked at Japanese jiu-jitsu. I went to a couple classes when I was in Japan, and I was like, man, this shit sucks. I'm not doing this.
Right.
So, that was the extent of my looking at it. So I really don't know the time frame or anything like that. But
right.
Yeah.
The guy that you fought, it's been a few months now, but that you broke his arm. How's he doing? Have you followed up on that at all?
Yeah, I actually followed up on that pretty shortly after. He's doing okay. He's got a couple of surgeries.
Yeah.
And he's going to be able to make a full recovery, but the doctors told him he probably shouldn't fight, but he's gonna try to fight anyways.
There's that human instinct to say,
yeah,
doctors tell me no, I'm going for it.
He's a fighter. He's a tough dude.
Yeah.
So he had no intention of ever stopping fighting because of it, but so he's gonna try to make a full recovery. He's right now it's actually hurting him more, and I hate to put his business out there, but hopefully maybe somebody will hear this and be like, hey, let's help this guy out. It's hurting him more financially because after the first 2 surgeries, the bill was already close to $40,000.
Wow.
So it was a freak accident. I mean, I did do the technique and I did it right, but the amount of damage that was done was not intended at all. That was not on purpose.
Even that got nasty comments and reviews.
Yeah, that got that one spread throughout the internet. Not the internet, but like the jiu-jitsu community, and MMA community, and the forums and all the websites and stuff. That spread pretty quick, and the stuff that people said about that, that took off like quickly. Like, this guy has no honor. He's disrespectful. He's an asshole. He did that shit on purpose. Like, yes, I did it on purpose, but I didn't
intentionally and on purpose is a different.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I purposely did the technique. I did not intentionally rip his arm out of the socket, and
And for me being there, I can contest to. I was a few rows back. Well, there wasn't rows. It was just stand up only. But I wasn't in the front. I wasn't by the cage. You couldn't even hear it for one back there, which is great because I wouldn't have been able to handle that. But like there was nothing malicious about it.
No.
Like it happened and you just kind of backed off. Like, oh shit.
Well, I mean, it was
happened.
only a few seconds. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but like if I really wanted to hurt him, if I was like, man.
You would have punched him a few more times, or
I
even
would have kept cranking on his arm. And
just ripped his whole arm off.
Yeah.
And even afterwards, you went up to him and made sure he was fine. As the paramedics are walking away, you went up there. I mean, so anybody that says it was intentional or malicious, they weren't there.
Yeah.
They weren't there, and they don't know you.
Actually, I had there was this one woman, and she went back and deleted her comments after I sent her a message about it. She went on one of the forums on Reddit. And she even posted like her real name and everything.
That's a good move.
And she was like, "Yeah, I was talking to Robert at the fights. Well, after the fights at the bar that's downstairs, and he said he did it on purpose, and he said he was happy about it." And she went on and on and on. And one of my friends was like, "Yo, do you know this girl?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, no, I don't know her. So I went in there, and I started replying.
People do that.
I started replying to her messages on the thread, and I was like, "Yo, this is actually the guy in that video. Like, do I fucking know you?" And I worded it just like that.
Yeah.
And then, she was like, "Don't pretend like you don't know what you said."
Wow.
What you said. And
wow.
She kept going on and on. I like looked her up on Facebook, and I like sent her a message on Facebook, and I was like, "Are you out of your fucking mind? Like, are you crazy? What the fuck is your problem?" And, like, I just went off, and then all of a sudden, like, her comments just disappeared, and I was like, "Oh man, But then I looked like an idiot because then it looked like I was talking to myself for like 5 or 6 comments.
It sounds like her name was like Gertrude Molinox or something. Some real pretty name. Nice soul.
Yeah,
just
extremely pretty.
Talking garbage to people.
That's kind of irritating though that something that somebody can just take and just be malicious like that.
Make it completely up. Makes it up. It's a completely made up.
Yeah.
You could say, Rob puts babies in triangle chokes.
Yeah, and I saw him do it twice.
Well, occasionally. Not all the time, though. That's the thing.
But you know what? If anybody ever watched my kids' judo class, like, they would completely believe you. Like, there's videos of me.
Well, yeah, because it does happen.
like taking these little kids and like just shoving them across the mat.
That's
funny.
And
it's like the videos are taken completely out of context. So,
yeah.
Like, they're shots like just to the point of like the kid like running up and me
That's
like
funny.
giving him a little shove and
right.
then, like flying backwards and being all dramatic about it. But then like the parents like take these videos and throw music to it. And they throw it on Facebook and YouTube, and I'm like, that's not helping people like
come
to the gym. They're like,
they post Rob is 24-0, and
but
just super kicking kids in the face.
But they have signed waiver forms, so it's all him. I mean, whatever.
Right.
It's whatever.
They've already paid their money.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get what you pay for.
Do you have any sponsors you want to mention?
Man, I am actually in the middle of like doing a whole like shift in sponsorship right now. But yeah, my main sponsor, my primary sponsor, they've supported me since I was an amateur before I went pro. Not a lot of amateur fighters have sponsors, but No Sequel Fightwear, Brandon Hizzo, dude is awesome. Yeah, he was a Marine, got out, started his own company. The clothing is, a lot of people think I only own No Sequel clothes because so I got my first shirts and I think I got 50 or 75 of them, I don't remember. But like immediately, 10 of them just went into my closet, and there were these black shirts that said No Sequel on the front and had my name on the back, and at the time they were really cool shirts, and like every other day or every day, like I was wearing one of those shirts, and he sent me a couple other shirts, a couple of the other shirts that No Sequel makes, and then I got my new shirts when I went pro, and those were even better. Like probably one of the most badass walkout shirts I've ever seen. And so I think I got 100 or 150 of those, and like 15 or 20 of those like went in my closet. And then in that time, in between the two times of me being an amateur and going pro, he'd sent me more other shirts that that he's made, and so I don't know, I probably got 40 or so no sequel shirts. And problem is like 15 of them, like what I'm wearing today, are the same shirt. So like
you should wear the same
yeah,
shirt. And we'll see, that is like Superman. It's the same content.
Taking
Same
a
content
away
every day.
Yeah.
So when people see me and they're like, "Did you wear that shirt yesterday?" I'm like,
sort
no,
of.
This is a completely different shirt.
Knowing good and well that it is the same shirt.
I mean, it's the same design, but it's not the actual same shirt.
Right.
My dad actually went on to order a hoodie for my nephew, and there was something either with the billing or the shipping. Didn't get it, and called him and talked to him and kind of told him that I knew you, or just told him the connection.
Right.
And they were super cool about it. I think they sent him a free one, and maybe like FedEx the next day. They were super
Brandon,
cool.
His actually it's funny. He's I was just messaging him before I got here.
Yeah.
Literally like 7 o'clock, like right as I walked in the door, was our last message. And they're launching a new website. But the old website, he was trying to do it, by himself. He's still a young company, but the guy busts his ass trying to create an awesome product, but he does most of the work like by himself. So it's a lot to keep up with. So there were a couple problems and glitches with the old website, but the new website is launching either tonight or tomorrow morning. He's just waiting on the DNS server to switch, which is like a whole IP address computer thing that's too boring to even mention.
Right.
Let's get into detail about it.
Yeah, let me tell you about that.
Is it just nosequel.com?
Is that what's the website?
It's actually www.nosequelfightwear.com.
Okay.
You can also look him up on Facebook, and he's got some of his clothes on Facebook that you can see. He's got links to the website on there. He's got a Twitter page. Just look up NoSequel Fightwear on Twitter. Look up NoSequel Fightwear on Instagram, and you'll see some of the other athletes that he helps out. And for an athlete that's just starting out, especially a pro athlete, especially in the combat field, we don't make a lot of money for these fights. A lot of people think like, oh, pro fighter, you guys are making bank.
Right.
No, it's not. I probably waste more money in gas driving to the extra training practices and training sessions and all the extra everything that I do just in gas than I'll make in a fight.
Wow.
So yeah, like we're not making anything yet. So when you have a sponsor that helps you out, the amount that Brandon does, it's great. It's super helpful, and people don't really realize how big that is. I've also got a Trahan Family Funeral Homes. When they're local to Pensacola. When they found out that I was going to be going pro, Richard Trahan came up to me and was like, hey, have you thought about your sponsorship packages yet? And I told him I was working on it and everything, and he was like, well, as soon as you do, shoot me a message and let me know what you got, and I'll work with you. So he's supported me for every one of my fights. I think it's kind of cool to have
Oh, it's definitely
a funeral home on the back.
Absolutely.
That's perfect, right?
And then,
what you should do is
help in their business.
Before you fight the fight, you should mail one to the opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is what you should do.
Yeah. But the other thing on the back of my shirt, it says "O va morrer," which is Portuguese for "you're going to die."
Oh
so,
shit!
Like, it says
catchy slogan.
Yeah.
Oh, that's to the point. It's good.
Right.
Yeah, but it says that, and then
That's
literally
hilarious.
like right underneath it says Trahan Family Funeral Homes.
Perfect.
So like if anybody would
That
ever
is
like
perfect.
read it, they'd be like, "Holy shit! Like this guy's not playing around."
That's funny.
Then
That's
I
a
got a couple other guys. I got Primal Combat. They hooked me up with clothes and stuff. There's this one company my buddy Ross McBasey owns. It's called Rapid Rehydrate.
I've seen that one on.
Yeah.
You posted it.
That he and I just started working together. It's for athletes that do sports where you have to cut weight a lot. Wrestling, judo, jiu-jitsu, boxing, MMA. Rapid Rehydrate, man, it's better than Gatorade. It's better than Powerade. It's better than Pedialyte. All that other stuff.
Does it get into your bloodstream faster, or what's the?
Yeah, on the box it's got like some chemistry shit that says like this and this plus this, and then like some circles and lines on them. So yes, scientifically somehow it does get in there, but I don't know the process.
Yeah.
I just know that it's awesome, and you know, it really does work. It's not one of those that I'm saying like, oh yeah, it works. Hey Ross, give me some free shit.
Right.
Right. Like no, like it works. Like I wouldn't drink it or I wouldn't take it if it didn't work because you know I still have to get in the cage. So if I'm not at 100%, you know, then I'm gonna be sucking. But you know, my last two fights, I took it and I was like, I felt better the night before the fight physically than I had before any other fight, judo tournament, jiu-jitsu tournament. You know, I felt like I was at 100% that night, which is
that's gotta be huge. Even psychologically, that's gotta be huge.
You know, I went to bed that night like, you know, let's fight right now.
Yeah.
Like, not now, but like right fucking now. Let's
right.
fight. And then I woke up, you know, pumped and ready to go.
So what do you walk around at?
Fat.
Fat.
No,
that's funny.
Like right now, I haven't been training probably as much as I should be. Right now I'm about 200, 205. When I'm training full time, and you know I'm lifting and doing my cardio and conditioning and everything, and actually when I'm working out with Dennis, I walk around about 190-ish. It fluctuates between 185 and 190 depending upon what I ate. And that's just like a 15-20 pound weight cut, which isn't bad, but like right now I'm definitely about 205.
See, that seems to me to be super extreme, even though I know it's not to, you know, given the sport, but to cut that much weight, what I mean, is it just all just sweating and getting all the fluids out?
You taper your diet down. You know, you try to eat right and you know make sure you put the right stuff in your body because you know a lot of it does come down to performance, and your body performs better when you you know you eat healthy and all that crap, which I absolutely hate because I like to eat and I like food. So like
absolutely
eating healthy is probably the worst part of the training camp for me. But you taper your diet down, you taper your intake and everything. So it's a slow process. Like it'll take me about 3 weeks to a month to naturally get down to where I'm 190. Like I could, you know, I could be 190 in 2 days, but you know, it's not going to be a healthy 190. It's just going to be me cutting weight. And then, you know, the last 10, 12 pounds will be water weight. And I'll do that in about anywhere from 8 to 12 hours, like really make that last push and get all that water out of me.
So do you take that supplement, do you take that before you go do the weigh-in, or do you do it immediately?
No, you take it after the weigh-in.
Okay.
Like, I already have it. It comes in a powder form, mix it up. So I already have it ready to go as soon as I weigh in. Step on the scale, boom, start drinking that. And I'll probably drink about, between when I weigh in and when I go to bed, I'll drink about 3.5 gallons of fluid before, yeah.
Do you IV at all?
No, that's actually illegal.
Oh, okay. Well, good. I'm glad you don't.
We wanted to. We got a few minutes left. Like going professional. Like I'm in the impression that it's all a mindset. Like it's only a title.
Yeah, it is a title. You know,
it's only and the reason why I said it was there was a time where you were bench pressing and I was gonna lean in and spot you. And I don't remember it was on the bar. It was
like
for
60, 70 pounds.
And then you kissed him.
And
it got real weird.
Yeah, it was slow motion, pitter patter.
A dove flew across the gym. It was beautiful.
And you say, "Don't worry about that. Let me suffer."
Yeah.
And it's at that point like the mind is already been made up. Like this is happening, and I think that's what it means to be the professional. Like, it got nothing to do with a title. Like you were just as passionate as an amateur as you are as the professional. So it's just a word.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of people that they turn pro and they change their entire training regimen.
Yeah.
They do a bunch of stuff. You know, I think as an amateur fighter, you should be striving to be better than, you know, every fight you should try to be better than you were before. And if you plan on going professional at any point as an amateur fighter, you need to be taking it as a professional now. Like, why would you change anything just because, you know, the fight changed? The rounds are a little bit longer and you're getting paid now. Well, you should have been doing that shit beforehand.
Right.
There's a lot of fighters that, you know, show up as amateurs and they're like, overweight, you know, and they're just like, well, it's an amateur fight, so what? Like, that's just not good business. Like, you want people, because these promoters that you're working with as an amateur are the same promoters you're going to work with as a professional.
They see the transformation. They see the person. Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's literally the exact same promoters. Like, there's pro-am cards that'll have amateurs and professionals. So you want to fight on those cards. You know, Dean Toole has Island Fights here in Pensacola. Paul Dominich and Glenn Matina, they have Atlas Fights over in Biloxi, and that's the two main ones that I fought for right now, or that I fight for right now. But you know, they worked with me as an amateur, and they saw like, yeah, this guy takes it professionally, so they knew when I said, hey, I want to go pro, they were like, all right, cool, there was no hesitation on either of their parts about contracts or weight classes or anything like that. A lot of guys, they say, hey, I want to go pro, and they're like, are you sure? Like, you sure you want to do that? Like, things get a little bit more serious now. But you want the promoters to take you just as seriously as you take yourself. And if you don't take it serious from your amateur career all the way through,
right,
then they're never going to do that. So, and I even had my last opponent. He didn't make weight. Pro fighter. It was his fourth fight, and he came in at 176 pounds. And
wow,
yeah. So he comes in at 176 pounds. I look at this guy and I'm like, oh no, hold on, let me back up. I knew this guy. He had missed weight before, so I knew he wasn't going to make weight. And I was like, hey, I'm not fighting this guy at 170 pounds because he hasn't made 170 pounds. Like, and he's not going to. I'm going to cut weight like a professional. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to show up, be ready to go, but I'm going to be sucking because I just cut fucking 15 pounds.
Absolutely.
right.
And he's going to come in heavy, haven't cut weight or anything like that. And they were like, no. He promises he's going to make weight, guaranteed, da-da-da. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Sign the contract, shows up, dickhead's 176 pounds.
Man,
I was like, man, what the, like, I fucking knew it, man. I flipped out. And so the commission was like, yeah, we'll give him 2 hours and he'll cut the weight. Man, he comes back 1.5 pounds heavier. I'm like,
It was a Quiznos real quick.
One second, I gotta cut weight. Let me go to McDonald's. I gotta get something to eat.
So
I will thank him for the 5 shots though.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was important.
Yeah, that was important after the fact. I'm not gonna say how much, but I got some of this purse for that. I was pretty pissed off. So
yeah.
Afterwards, I went out and we all took shots, and they were basically on him.
Right.
Like me and everybody that went out with me that night, like we all drank on him. So appreciate that, Brock Hunter.
So do you got any fights coming up?
Yes. I want to say the name, but I can't say it just yet. We're waiting on the contract to get sent. But I talked to the promoter in Biloxi, Mississippi, Glenn Matina and Paul Dominich this past Saturday night. I will say that it's going to be for the 170-pound Atlas Fights title. So that's it's going to be a huge fight. The guy that I'm fighting is a good guy, good person. I know him. I've actually trained with him before. He's just a solid dude, strong, athletic. Really physical, and I posted on my page, hey, we're the 2 best welterweights in the area because I truly believe that, between his striking abilities and his athleticism and my grappling, I believe we are the 2 best 170-pound fighters in the Gulf Coast area. And so, and people have been asking since I was an amateur and he was an amateur, hey, when are you 2 gonna fight? When are you 2 gonna fight?
Yeah.
And it's never happened, but we just waiting on the contract. Once the contract's signed, we're gonna announce it. And people that are mutual friends, because it's a small area.
Yeah.
People that are mutual friends are like, hey, he just posted. Hey, you just posted. Are you 2 fighting each other?
Right.
Is it? Yeah. Can you say where? Or is it that?
It's gonna be at the Golden Nugget Casino, Biloxi, Mississippi. It's March 14th. And it's actually another fighter from Pensacola. That's why everybody's like, how come you guys haven't fought yet? We're in the same weight class. What's happening?
And now it's gonna be for the title.
It does seem strange you haven't, and then
as
for
amateurs
the
we didn't. And
yeah.
our first, his first 5 pro fights, my first 4 pro fights, we didn't fight each other. But now, shit's gonna happen.
That's awesome.
Do you want to say where he fights out of, where he trains out of?
No, that'll give it away right away.
Okay.
Well, just wrapping it up, Rob, we really appreciate you coming on.
No, thank you for having me. I had fun. It was kind of interesting.
Definitely, it is. It's definitely fun. It's addicting too. It's fun.
Denny, you got some stand up coming up?
December 19th, there's a roast of Santa Claus at the Big Easy Tavern.
What are you gonna be? They're all gonna be characters.
Dressing up as Kwanzaa Timmy, which was a little known character Tim Meadows did on Saturday Night Live. Someone dressed up as that, and that should be fun.
Should be fun.
Yeah.
So thanks again, Rob. What's your Facebook page?
You can find me, just type my name in there, Robert Turnquest. I've got a fan page and a regular Facebook page. You can add me on either one. I really don't care if sponsors ask me to start the fan page, so I started it, but I still use my regular page just as much.
Right.
So add me on either one. I post on both of them, communicate with people, so literally all the same stuff is on both pages, so it really doesn't matter.
And the Academy also fan page.
The Academy has a fan page as well. Just look up the Academy of Pensacola for MMA and BJJ, and that'll pop up in your browser.
And go to Elegant Profanity on Facebook. Also, give us some likes on there. So thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it.
Good night. That's it.
All right, awesome. That it was